Primatte is a proprietary green screen and blue screen keyer developed by Magica Corporation and licensed to the Foundry for use in Nuke. It's actually a three-dimensional chroma keyer, a very, very sophisticated kind of chroma keyer, working on completely different principles than color difference keyers such as keylight and ultimatte. In this first section, we're going to take a look at the theory of primatte because it can be a little bit difficult to understand and control. This 3D model represents the basic operating theory behind primatte. Primatte collects all the pixels in the picture and scatters them into a three-dimensional RGB color cube, represented by this cube and these colored dots. The pink dots here might represent some skin tones, the brown ones over here a shirt, and the green screen pixels will be clustered in the center in a little green cloud. Primatte will then surround that green cloud with a polyhedron, and this is how it isolates the backing colors from the rest of the screen. The problem is the green screen pixels don't neatly cluster themselves into a nice uniform sphere. Due to variations in color and lighting in the backing region, it makes kind of an irregular shaped blob. As I dial in the deformations here, you can see the polyhedron changing shape in order to incorporate or include certain green screen pixels and exclude other pixels that we don't want in our matte. Of course, it's not that simple. Primatte actually has three concentric polyhedrons, and you get to deform all three of them. We're representing that here with kind of a cross-section two-dimensional view of the whole model. The inner or small polyhedron here, marked as Zone 1, contains all of the backing color, the green screen or blue screen pixels, and this area will be the 100% transparent or the black part of the matte. From the small to the medium polyhedron, this zone here, Zone 2, represents the semi-transparent region, where we're transitioning from completely transparent to 100% opaque. The medium polygon on out is 100% opaque, but Zone 3, between the medium and large polygon, even though the matte is 100% opaque, we're performing spill suppression, very important function in any keyer. This might represent green spill on the face or maybe on the clothes. And everything from the large polygon on out is Zone 4, and that's 100% foreground with no spill. So the idea with primatte is to deform these three polygons in order to include and exclude certain pixels into our 100% transparent, 100% opaque, or spill suppressed region, doing something like this. So these are now deformed, and the problem with primatte can be, if you get too much deformation going on, primatte can get out of control, and you cannot put it back. With primatte, the secret is knowing when to stop adjusting it. Okay, enough theory. Now let's take a look at the basic operation for setting up a primatte key. Let's start by taking a look at primatte's keying operations. We'll be using these two pictures here, and you can find these images in the tutorial media file. All right, we'll select the green screen, come up to the Keyer tab, and select a primatte node. And the foreground input will automatically connect to the green screen, so we'll hook the background input up to the background. All right. You may notice the crop window here. Primatte comes with this simple little crop window for cropping in on the green screen. It's really not very useful, and we're going to learn later how to do garbage matting, which is much more useful. I'll undo this, and we'll start by looking at our first operation, the select background color. When you open primatte, it starts with this, so we can select the basic background color here. Make sure your eyedropper's turned on, and we'll home the viewer, and I'll do a command, click, and drag. What I just did was I selected the small poly. I told it what this green color is that's going to be inside the small poly, and that'll be the 100% black part of the matte. The next operation you do after selecting the background color is to clear background noise. We'll switch the viewer to the alpha channel. So the idea is to set this part, the background or backing region, to 0 black. To help see what we're doing, let's take the viewer gamma slider up to like 3. Next, we want to switch the operation from selecting the background color to clean the background noise. That's primatte speak for clearing the noise out of the backing region. All we have to do is sample the picture. This is the way of primatte. You talk to primatte by selecting an operation and then sampling pixel values to tell it what to do. No buttons or dials or knobs or parameters to set. Command, click, and drag. Command, click, and drag. And everywhere I drag, those pixel values are now included in the shape of the polys. A more efficient way to do this is to draw a color rectangle with Shift command. So you can draw a big box and get rid of big swatches of color at one time. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this out here because I'm going to take care of that with my garbage mat. So we've cleaned the background noise, so we'll set the viewer gamma back to default and take a look at cleaning the foreground noise, the interior of our mat. We'll set the operation to clean foreground noise. And again, we're going to sample pixel values. I'll command, click, and drag here, or better yet, Shift command and select big chunks of color. Once I think I have a nice solid core mat, I'll slam the viewer gamma down to like 0.1, looking for any holes. Yep, looky here. I got some holes in my mat. So we'll do some more samples to get rid of those holes. All right, rehome the viewer, set the viewer gamma back to 1, and return to RGB. We now have a solid core mat and a clean background region. The next thing we'll look at is spill suppression. Primatte has two completely different spill suppression tools. Let's go to the operation, pop up, take a look at the spill sponge. Now there's the spill minus and the spill plus. We'll start with the spill sponge. The spill sponge is designed specifically for transition edges like this, where the foreground is transitioning to the background. So this is actually a blend of your foreground object with the green screen. The spill sponge will affect the mat. Looking here, we're addressing the medium poly right here. As we move this in and out, it'll cut deeper into the character or further away, adding more or less green to the edge. So, with the spill sponge operation selected, I'm going to command, click, and drag along this edge and remove that spill. Now I'll do an undo, redo, so you can see it come and go. Now we'll look at the alpha channel. Watch this. As I undo, you can see the alpha channel has really shifted. We've also introduced some other issues, but we'll come back to those later. We'll restore the viewer to RGB and rehome the viewer. So that's one of two spill operations. Remember, the other ones are spill plus and minus. These two do not affect the mat. They're intended to be used not in transition regions like the edge, but in the solid core of the mat. Maybe there's some spill on the character's face. You do not want the mat density to be affected at all by that spill. But we're going to use it here for the hair, because we do not want to affect the alpha channel of the hair. So we'll select spill minus, because I want to remove the spill. Zoom into the hair here. Now, there's a trick with the spill plus and minus. Watch what happens if I command, click, and drag a long line. Whoa, completely out of control. Undo that, please. The way you use the spill plus and minus is you select single pixels with a single click. So we'll come in here and we'll go click, click, click. Very gently, very surgically, pulling the green out of specifically green areas, okay? A very surgical approach. One little click here, one little click there, all right? And a little more, let's get one little less green in here. Rehome the viewer. Let's take a look over here at this part of the face. So we'll zoom in here. And if we have removed too much spill, like here, you can see some discolored pixels in the skin tones right here. So we'll take the spill plus and put back the spill. Put the cursor exactly on one of those discolored pixels and do one little command click. Voila. Rehome the viewer.